Well, welcome to our Tea and Talk. Let's learn about Disability Tax Credit and Registered Disability Savings Plan, RDSP, and its benefits, plus the Canada Disability Benefits. Next slide, please. I just want to go over a couple of housekeeping rules. Mute your mic to block outside noise. Closed captioning buttons located at the bottom of the screen. Put your questions and comments in the chat, and this session will be recorded and posted on Senior's website and the YouTube channel. Next slide. I like to do the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the lands on which we live, work, and meet are situated on the traditional territories of the Indigenous groups of Newfoundland and Labrador, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and the Inuit of this province. We honor the diverse Indigenous peoples who have cared for this land for the past generations and for the 7 generations to come. We are committed to listening, learning, and working in collaboration with Indigenous communities as we move towards reconciliation, respect, and mutual understanding. Let us carry this acknowledgement forward in our work and relationships as we strive to create a future that respects and embraces the wisdom of older adults and diversity of all communities. Next slide, please. I'd like to introduce our speaker today is Fraser Piccott. Fraser is a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces and a public and private sector leader with a deep commitment to inclusion, particularly for persons with disabilities. His leadership has been recognized by the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador through the following awards. He's a recipient of the Newfoundland and Labrador Confederation's 75th Anniversary Medal, Newfoundland and Labrador Senior of Distinction Award in 2023. Fraser retired from the heavy construction equipment industry, where he was a senior manager for many decades. Fraser is connection maker and community builder, committed to building stronger, fairer communities in Newfoundland and Labrador across Canada. Over the past 40 years, he has taken on leadership roles in the following organizations. He's a chairperson, the Provincial Advisory Council for the Inclusion of Persons with Disabilities. He's a Lifetime Achievement Award from Avalon Employment Incorporated. He's a past Vice President of Inclusion Canada. He's the past president of Inclusion Canada, Newfoundland and Labrador. He's the past chair of Vera Plynn Society. And now he's the chair of our board Seniors NL. Founding chair of the Avalon Employment Incorporated, founding chair of Avalon Community Accommodations Board, and a board member of the Newfoundland and Labrador Housing Corporation. And he's also a member of the Finance, Audit, and Risk Committee. Well, welcome, Fraser. It's great to have you here today. Next slide.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and quite the introduction. My head hopefully is not going to swell too much. Anyway, to our visitors, thank you very much for attending and hopefully listening to this particular presentation. And hopefully we'll be able to guide you through the importance of, for those who don't have a disability tax credit, why you should have it, particularly if you have a disability. If you haven't applied for it, we'll try to guide you through it. And the disability tax benefit or credit is the gateway or the key to many of the other programs that are available both provincially and federally, such as the Canada Disability Benefit, the Registered Disability Savings Plan, and the Newfoundland and Labrador Disability Benefit. I want to say thank you to the Plan Institute for obviously preparing a lot of this presentation. And the Plan Institute, if you want to follow it, then just do a search, and it'll bring you to one of the most active organizations all across Canada and one of the most successful when it comes to the uptake of the disability tax credit. They are located in British Columbia, and I'm very pleased to be on their board. So what's the agenda? The agenda is going to be, what is the disability tax credit? Who is eligible for it? How to apply? and some of the application tips that you may need. The Canada Disability Benefit itself, how this benefit came to provide up to $200 a month to people approved for the disability tax credit. The Registered Disability Savings Plan, how to access this long-term savings plan, and up to, by the way, $90,000 of grants and bonds that you can get based on the eligibility profile. And then hopefully we'll have some questions and answers after the session. This is just simply the disclaimer that they put on most materials nowadays, that it is there for general use, and any legal aspects of it and financial advice, as you know, should always be tempered with by having a professional financial advisor when guiding you in that area. The Plan Institute is a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to empower disabled people to lead a good life. Now, I'm going to be using some labels, I guess, or words in here, such as disabled people. Personally, I would prefer person first, but within the presentation, you may see some different types of descriptions. And I always believe that it's up to the person themselves to choose what they prefer when it comes to the identification. Thus, I would always use myself, the person first. So it would be a person with disabilities. And basically for them to lead a good life, be financially secure, contributing to and participating in caring and inclusive communities, being respected and empowered to make decisions, knowing the loving support of family and friends, choosing a place to live and call home, and having a well-planned future. What we do basically from the point of view of the Plan Institute itself is one of the main ones, obviously, is the disability navigation. If you have questions about any aspect of the programs that are available in Canada and in some cases in your own province, feel free to reach out to the Plan Institute. They have people available that you can call. There's a 1-800 number, and more like we'll reference it here at the end of it, that you can get involved, and people will guide you where to go or how to get to where you need to get the answers. They also have educational and learning initiatives such as webinars, seminars, even different levels of presentations for newcomers, if you like, or people that are not familiar with these programs, that are given on a very plain language type of presentation. They also provide leadership and advocacy. One of their advocate roles is as you saw, the Canada Disability Benefit that just came out. These things don't just happen. As you know, as many of us, and which you are, also are volunteers in the communities. I always describe the volunteer as a proactive person, and I would then call government or the politicians reactive people. And they're reactive to us being proactive. And things that have happened in our society that were always for the good were always happening because of our involvement. And I certainly hope that when we look for the rights of individuals, no matter who they are, the politicians and the bureaucrats are listening. And then we're going to have obviously some questions and answers. So the disability tax credit, what is it? It's a non-refundable tax credit. This means if you do not pay any tax, you will not get any money back. The TCF application is also known as the T2201 form. I'll show you that as we go through. The credit helps people with disabilities and their supporting family members to pay less income tax. The DTC also gives access, as I referenced, to other benefits. The DTC is applied to your income tax returns for the 2025 year. The DTC is worth $10,138. So when you look at that as a credit or a benefit that you can actually claim up to that amount, it is an awful lot of money that people sometimes miss out on or are not using correctly. For children with disabilities who are approved for the disability tax credit, there is an added credit of an amount of $5,914. Big numbers not to be missed out on, particularly when it's your money that's up on the Ministers of Finance's desk waiting for you to go after it. The DTC can be applied from the year of your disability began. Your income tax return can be reassessed for up to 10 calendar years in the past. And this might give you a major tax refund. I'll get into that a little bit later. Supporting family members can benefit. Unused credit amounts can be given to eligible family caregiver to reduce their taxes. An eligible family member is someone who are related to you by birth, marriage, or adoption, who provides you with regular food, shelter, and or clothing. So again, if you're living with someone and they're assisting you, by all means, make sure that they can benefit also. Other benefits of the DTC for individuals: the Canada's Workers Benefit, home buyers, home accessibility tax credit, eligibility for qualified disability trust, medical expenses, registered disability tax credit, which we'll talk about, the Canada's Disability Benefit, which we will, and caregivers and guardians child disability benefit, and the caregiver credit. Now, who can apply? The DTC has no age restrictions. It doesn't have to do with whether someone can work or go to school, and it doesn't depend on their income or assets. It's very, very important. What you must have is a social insurance number. You must have a severe impairment, mental, physical, or a combination of that. And in our province, just so you know, there are approximately between the ages of 1 and 49, there are approximately over 15,000 people who do have the disability tax credit, but have never initiated opening up the registered disability savings plan. And I'll talk about why you should entertain or look at that, because the benefits are exceptional. That the impairment needs to be a prolonged impairment, has lasted or is expected to last at least 1 year, and you do file your taxes, basically. Now, what are we talking about when it comes to restrictions? As you can see here on the screen, normal: vision, speaking, feeding, hearing, eliminating, dressing, mental functions, and walking. So again, if there's something that affects your life, it hopefully falls within one of these categories, and the process that you need to follow to get it approved if you haven't already. A severe impairment means the applicant has either a marked restriction, very restricted, in one basic activity of living, cumulative. So if you got one or two or more activities that equal a marked restriction, you could become eligible. Or if you require life-sustaining therapy, in need of therapy to keep them alive, and it also takes up a lot of time. Currently, this is therapy at least 2 times a week for an average of around 14 hours. So again, it's pretty broad, but again, I'll speak about that a little further. How to apply. Now, there's a link here, and I'm going to see if we can go to the link. And if I'm good at this, I'll be able to try it out. I'm going to click here, and hopefully it'll take us out to the area. If it doesn't, we'll see how long here it goes. So all you do is be a little patient, and patience is not always one of my best virtues. But on the site that's there, and all of these links and locations, feel free to ask any of our people here at the Seniors NL for those links, and they would help you basically say, here's the link, you click on it, and it's a guide that'll take you through. One of the most important areas when it comes to how you fill out these forms, this here gives you a very straightforward way for individuals and also for medical practitioners. When you fill out your T2201 form, you need to give all the details. That the more details you give on how it affects your life as you're going through, and how that disability has taken time from your regular day, whether it be for work, working and doing things around the house, going out for groceries, it could be anything. But if it limits your regular ability to do anything, you need to write that up in a fashion that's very straightforward, in plain language, so that the person, eventually this form will go off to the Revenue Canada, is where it goes. There's an adjudicator who will take the form, read through it, and based on the information that you've provided and the story that you've told, and the more engaged you've told the story, and I mean with all kinds of examples or certain options that how it affects your life, I think it's important to do it. So we, on this particular form here, if I go to for individuals and click on it, one, it'll tell you about the disability tax credit. I'm not going to get into all of this because there's a lot of information that's there, but it'll take you right on down to learn about the DCC benefits, the application, find out who's eligible, and it'll also give you other guidance as to how you should do it, and even from the point of view of, and I'm hoping this will go back down when I click up here, when I go back one. Yeah. And the benefit this particular site has, so if you're a medical practitioner, be it a nurse, doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, could be anybody that has the ability to sign off on your T22, he or she can go into this and click on it, and it will explain to them what they need to do to hopefully get you approved when it goes off to CRA. So I'm just going to X out of here, and we're going to see if this brings me back to my page, which it will eventually once I click all the way. And we'll do it one more time. And uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's fine. Just click on your PowerPoint there, Fraser.
Yeah, then we're going back to that PowerPoint again. It went all the way. So
anyway, that's okay.
Anyway, we're back there. We're safe. Let me go on down here. There's the form. I mean, the form is the form. It's a standard form that you'll see when you go online. You can do this online, particularly if you're registered with Revenue Canada. And if you're not, it's great to get there. Do the process, because it'll allow you to go back all the years you want to go back and then see all the documentations, how much money you've actually paid to the federal government. At which point, I'm sure you'll be saying, oh my God, did I pay that much money to the federal government? So I'm saying to you, let's find every way to get as much money back as you can, because you deserve it. So again, when it comes to all the different parts, I'm not going to go into a lot of this, but it does give you the ability of the online application, the summary. They will give you a number that you can always then go back and revisit and say, what is the status of my reference number? And usually it'll take sometimes around 6 months, because Revenue Canada obviously I guess they're a bit understaffed, and they need as much information. The more you give them, the better your options. Now, which medical professions can complete Part B? Remember, I referenced that. So, medical doctors, including surgeons and psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, optometrists, audiologists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, pathologists, physiotherapists, and psychologists. So again, you have a broad range of people depending on the disability that you're talking about. So again, by all means, your doctor can refer you to any one of these specialists, and then it's only a matter of bringing in the form itself. I know that's a bit of a loophole. I wouldn't call it a loophole. Maybe it's a loop or a hoop that you got to jump through to be able to get them to sign that, particularly if that person is not familiar with you. So the more information that your doctor provides along with yourself makes it that much easier for them to be able to sign off on what has been written on that form. So the application, reminders include specific examples of how you're restricted. Think about how your disability restricts you on your very worst day, even if you have help. Do not include your ability to work, your ability to housekeep, your ability to manage a bank account, or to drive recreation or activities. Just simply how it restricts your activities. That's the important part, not how that I can only work now 20 days a week, or no, go back and you're restricted because of the disability, and that causes the other side. What happens after you apply? Again, the process time, they will give you a notice of determination. They would either apply that here's your disability tax credit now, and you go forward from there. Or if they deny it, they will come back and say, you have so many weeks to get back to me. And you have to come up with, obviously, relating that story all over again. So the importance of doing the story up front, vital. And outcomes, as I said, Sierra may have more questions, or they're approved, or you're denied. And then you go through the process followed by the CRA that you have to do that to reapply again. But like I said, up front, complete detail, even if you think you're saying too much is never too much. It's more information on your life and how you're restricted is vital. And again, if you wanted support, by all means, the Plan Institute got a national disability helpline, and you can see it there on your screen. Disability Alliance BC has an online tool, which is located at that particular link. And webinars in multiple languages, too, are available through the Plan Institute. So, again, if you want to go back and say, okay, well, Fraser didn't explain this very clearly, go to where you find the webinar, go to their site, find out when the next presentation is. And sometimes there's a basic one, and then there's an advanced one. So depending on your skill levels, when it comes to the ability to do what they're asking there, by all means, choose the one that's best for you. And matter of fact, here in Atlantic Canada, we're very fortunate also that we do have an Atlantic Region Navigator with Inclusion Canada. And she's located in New Brunswick, I think. And by all means, again, if you want to get her information, contact, she will help you with all those items that are listed there. So, which is very, very good to have. The Canada Disability Benefit. While it's a low amount, the disability community over the past few years have been fighting very much to get a basic income, basically, for people with disabilities. Federal government came out with the $200 a month. Not a big amount, but at least it's the beginning of something that may become better. And we're hoping that will be the case. One of the items and the importance of this is that in Canada, as a side note, of all the people living on the lowest of incomes, 40% of them have a disability and they don't know about these programs. So it's important that if you have a friend who's living on a very low income, vital to be able to talk about it and get it. Even getting the $200 per month is a major amount to be able to get. Now, who can apply for the Canada Disability Benefit? Again, you must have the disability tax credit to get it. So remember that that's important. The most important thing up front is that you're currently approved for the disability tax credit. You filed your incomes, you meet the household thresholds to qualify, and those are guidelines that are found on the website itself. I won't go into that. That's all to do with a lot of different money and so on, the numbers. And payments are based on, again, how much you earn. So that's what's on this screen. I don't want to go into very much about this one. It's just a straightforward how much you're making, and then you can apply for it. The incomes, there's your thresholds, 23,000 to 35, and it shows what percentage you get, either you're single or you're couple, or so on. And the maximum working income exemption, the amounts are down below. So again, these are thresholds, but it's a process that you have to go through. Or all you got to do is, like I said, the 1-800 number is there. They'll guide you through it. In a presentation like this, I'm trying to get through it for you, and just to remind you that the process is there, but the help, most importantly, is there. And then you can do it in person. You can go online. And the online version, I will say, is straightforward. You simply click on that particular link, follow the process, and hopefully, before you know it, you're getting a check for $200 if you're eligible. Same thing with the support. You can call those numbers as I referenced. Really, the important part here now, the Registered Disability Savings Plan. A lot of people are not aware that, one, you can open this particular plan without any money. Now, the banks don't like that, but the rule is there that they must open it. And when you do open it, there is an amount that Inclusion Canada handles for the provincial government of roughly $150, and they will then deposit that into the account. And I'm going to show you why you should open it, or why I feel you should open it, based on the amount of money that's there, even if you don't put money in. Now, that's very important. But if you put money in, you'll never get a better return on your money. So that's also vital. Registered Disability Savings is a long-term investment savings account created to support persons with disabilities in their retirement years. Does not affect your federal benefits, and by the way, it does not affect most provincial or territorial benefits. So if you're receiving provincial supports, either through the Department of, there's a new name on it now, but it was called Children, Seniors and Social Development. People like to change department names every time they change something else, but unfortunately, still through those departments, if you're receiving any benefits, this year will not affect those. You can have up to $200,000 in personal contributions, $90,000 in government contributions, and unlimited investment income can come from this plan. Eligibility: beneficiary, person with a disability who will receive the RDSP funds in the future. That's what they call this, the beneficiary. The holder is the person who manages the RDSP account. That could be the same person. The person with the disability could be the beneficiary and the holder. So that is important to know that. Must be calendar year. They do not have this all stops in the year that you turn 49. So on December 31st of that year, all of these benefits will disappear from the point of view of your eligibility to get all these different top-ups. So if you're going to turn 49, by all means, take advantage today, because the moment December 31st comes along, you're not going to get them. But so be advised that it's important to act early. Now you can still put money in it right up until you're 59, but there are no the only money you're making would be the money that's the investment is giving you. You must be approved for the DTC and be a Canadian citizen for tax filing purposes with a valid social insurance number. The holder must be a beneficiary of legal guardian or parent if the beneficiary is a minor. Be the beneficiary's qualified family member or legal guardian if the beneficiary is an adult, or obviously parent, common law, partner, spouse, or adult sibling, and have a valid SIN number. You can open it basically in most all banks right now and investment groups. So again, the options for opening are limited. Grants and bonds. The lifetime maximum that you can get is $90,000. So it's $20,000 you can actually get in bonds, and up to $70,000 in grants based on the amount of money that you put in yourself. Only available up until December 1st of the calendar year, as I mentioned. But you can get, so if you have a disability and you open it up today and you've had that disability for 10 years, the federal government will go back 10 years and put right into your RDSP $10,000 based on, again, eligibility. And in most cases, most people are eligible for it. So it's very important that you go back and get it. The bonds, $1,000 a year, up to a maximum of 20. So if you picked up your first 10, they will continue on for another 10 more years until you got a total of $20,000 that's in that RDSP. If you just got the disability, they will continue on for a total of 20 years. So again, really, really important. For the full $1,000 bond in 25, the adjusted family income for 2023 must be at or below $37,487. A partial bond will be received up until the family income exceeds $57,000. So again, there's a good balance here in assisting people with disabilities that, in a lot of cases, they're in a demographic financial group that will fall within those particular numbers and be totally eligible. So I think it's really important. And then for those who are not, there's still a great benefit. Grants. The grants are exceptional. What I'm going to do, rather than go through all of this, I think there's a link that's coming up which will show a calculator on how this works. And it'll give you a really good idea going forward. So I'm going to skip through a couple of these and give you a way to, I guess, maximize the RDSP. You need to review it, look at it, what is the investment strategy, and so on. Now, if I can find that link when I go through, and this talks about withdrawals. When you turn 60, you start withdrawing, and I'll show you that on the calculator once I get my calculator back up here. And I'll just skip through a couple of more on the taxation. Here's our calculator, and this is the one I really want to take a look at. So if I click here, and you can find this, by the way, if you look up there at the heading, it's found on RDSP.com. I'm going to scroll down and fill in some basic information. As you can see here, you are an individual, family member, or personal representative. I'm going to say that your age is, let's say your age is 25. Let me see if this is going to work now. Oh, we better go to the other machine. Let's go back. 25. Now I'm hitting the 2 and it's going to 1. So let me try this other one. Well, why don't I just choose something different? It's not. It's going to 1. Now go across the top. Let's try this here. 2. There we go. So I'm going to say the person is 25 years old. The year that you're going to open it is this year, which is 2026. I'm going to say yes, that you're qualified and that you've had your disability for 10 years, so you can take advantage of going back the full 20 years. So I'm going to say you had your disability since 2015. When you're 18, you got to fill in something here. You had no money that you were making, basically. And let's assume you were making $20,000 after 18. So let's see here. I'm just going to scroll again. Annual contribution. I'm going to say you're putting nothing in. You have no money, and I hear that a lot. I mean, and I respect that very much. That no, I can't even afford $50. But there are people. Well, I'll show you what $50 will do. So, but for this particular case, remember I said you opened up the RDSP. You put actually nothing in here. Now I'm going to hit calculate and see what happens. Unless I missed adding something in, it'll tell me. Now, as you can see, what's happening here, you put nothing in. And come the age of 60, you're going to receive an average payment roughly of around $6,000 a year. And you draw down $145,000 roughly over between age, I believe it's between age 60 and 82. So that kind of money coming into you simply for opening the RDSP with no money. Now let's go back, and I hear this story so often about parents who have their child who their biggest worry is what's going to happen to him or her when they're gone. So in the area here where it says annual contribution, you want to make sure that there's money in this plan for your son or daughter when they get ready to retire. And by the way, there are ways to draw down on this money while before he gets to age 60. You can do it. There's a process, but if you leave it in strictly for their retirement and you say, okay, I want to put in $50 a month. Okay. So I want to put in 50. Oh, annual. Annual would be 600, wouldn't it? Right. So 600. What does $50 a month do to this plan? Remember, you had $145,000 that they will collect. Well, let's go and find out what this person is going to get by simply putting $600 in. Now, you can see what happens there. It's close to almost $500,000 that the person will collect between the ages of 60 and 82. Average payment turns out to be about $18,000 per year. The first payment, as you notice down below, if you can see it there, at age 60, he'll be drawing down, or she will be drawing down, roughly $13,000 a year. By the time they're finished, it'll be $25,000 a year. So inflation is in this calculator. So it's very, very important. I want to show you another thing. Now I'm going to cheat on this particular one because our provincial government has implemented in the Newfoundland and Labrador disability benefit that they will put in $1,200 per year for eligible persons based again on your income. But the calculator, I had to cheat because the calculator does certain things. I'm going to put in $300 for this individual because the calculator is going to give me 3 times that amount. When the provincial government puts in a certain amount, it doesn't trigger the federal government to put it in. Rather than over-explain it, I'm going to just simply put in 300. Now, something moved that time when I clicked, but let's go back and see what happens there. Did it go in? Oh, 300. Oh, yeah, right up here. 300. So you never put 1 cent in. And the moment you got a disability tax credit and you open up an RDSP, the provincial government has automatically implemented that the federal government, on their behalf, will deposit the $1,200 right into this account. You don't have to do one thing. They know you got a disability tax credit. They know that now you've opened it up because they've been told, because you have to tell them. Once that's opened, they'll put it in. So here's a young man or a woman who has no money whatsoever. She's on supports from government for living, for whatever the reasons may very well be. But that amount of money, what does it do? I'm going to hit the calculator. Now, this person will receive, when they turn 60, and trust me, as a senior citizen, 60 comes along a lot faster than you think. But the bottom line, they will collect almost $300,000 between the ages of 60 and 82. So again, vitally important why you should open it. And the benefit is so good. Basically, it costs you nothing, but costs you a lot if you don't do it. So when you look at an average of $12,000, that's $1,000 a month. That's an awful lot of money. And particularly when you have a disability and the expenses that are involved with living with a disability, it becomes very, very helpful no matter what you use that for. So now let's see if I go out of here, because I think I've explained the importance of having, and I've also talked about the importance of the Newfoundland and Labrador disability portion. So hopefully if I can X out of here and get back to my original one. And we are here on the page. There we are. Good, 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 good. This is actually working, so I'm really impressed. Looks like I know what I'm doing. So you can see the importance of this particular program. And unfortunately, right now in our province, there are over 7,500 people who have a disability tax credit in their hand and have never opened this. Now, who's to blame for that? Well, I won't go into that because it's not politically correct to say who's at fault. But a lot of times you can look in the mirror and say, well, am I doing this job right, or is someone doing it? I'm doing it from here. And I have to say thank you to Seniors NL for asking me to give this presentation. So they're doing their part to promote this particular program to those of you who are online and listening to it. Now, the Newfoundland Disability Benefit. Oh, well, I think I must have a link for that too. Grant, I got a link for pretty well everything. Let's see that. Yes, it does. It goes there. Look at this. I love these links. So if you go to the government website and look up the Newfoundland and Labrador Disability Benefit, you can see right here, our poverty reduction plan includes new investments to increase benefits for people with low incomes, and the total investment in the social programs is almost $1 billion. The Newfoundland and Labrador Disability Benefit includes up to, this is really, really important. We're one of the first provinces to do this. Up to $400 per month for those who qualify. So remember, you got the $400 here. You have the $200 from the federal government. There's $600 per month that you can get today if you're the criteria that shows here on the screen, or if you just simply go to that particular link, the government link. I'm sure most of you got it, because if you're looking at me on this, you got a computer and you're actually seeing me on the computer. So right in front of you, you could actually go to the government of Newfoundland website, and it'll show this. Really a super program that I can't say anything bad about. It's one of the best things that's happened in 2025. I think it was introduced in July. It finally came around. And then notice that here they also reference the $1,200 annual contribution to the person's registered disability savings plan. Qualifying persons must have the DTC and open up an RDSP before this contribution can be made. They must also be between the ages of 18 and 49. Individuals and couples where one person is in receipt of the DTC with incomes below $42,000 will receive the full $1,200 amount. That's a lot of money. By contributing to the RDSP, the government of Newfoundland and Labrador is contributing to the long-term financial security of persons with disabilities. And remember, there's no application involved here. The moment you open up your DTC and your RDSP, provincial government's aware of it. When they see your income tax being done and you fall below the certain level, you'll get the $1,200 deposited by CRA on their behalf. So, again, really, really important to take advantage of that particular program. Now, let's go to the next one. So there's the big next one. So thank you. One, I want to say thank you, obviously, to the Plan Institute for being so kind in providing most of this particular part of the presentation. And that's all of their contact information. And then you also have, obviously, the Seniors NL. And Seniors NL are, again, our conduit to a lot of this and the information that needs. No matter what your age group, by the way, feel free, even though we're called Seniors NL, if you have a question about this, no matter what your age, feel free to make that phone call and simply go from there. And I already mentioned, that's all the good stuff about Seniors NL. So I'll pass it over, I think, to my good host, Sherry, to finish out here.
Thank you, Fraser. There was a couple of questions actually came in for the disability tax credit. And that one question was, Fraser, is there a limit on the amount of disability expenses you can claim on your home income tax? Claim on your income tax percentage of your home, as an example.
Oh, I never caught that very well.
Sure.
Speaker that's in here.
That's all right. A question came in that says, is there a limit on the amount of disability expenses you can claim on your income tax? An example would be percentage of income.
Again, I have hearing aids in.
Oh, okay.
I'm having trouble hearing. If it was written in front of me, I would be really happy.
No problem. Basically, this person was asking, is there a limit on the amount of disability expenses you can claim on your income tax? Is there a limit on the amount of disability expenses that you can claim?
Yes, there is. I think in this year, I think it's a little over $10,000.
Okay.
It will be on the line item where the disability tax credit or the disability claim can be made. Okay. It will show you how much money that you can claim based on your disability. And if you have a child, that amount goes up slightly. But again, if it's a question such as that, reach out to either the Plan Institute, and that's the easiest one to go to. By all means, they have what do you call it, an email address that's available, or the 1-800 number. Phone, because where I'm having trouble hearing with the speaker that's here. By all means, take a little look at just simply go to the planinstitute.ca, I think it is, and all the contact information is there. Send them an email. I think you can actually text them also. So you have all kinds of options to ask whatever question that you may have to get the answer that you need.
And as well, Fraser, if anyone do have any more questions, of course they can contact us at outreach at seniorsnl.ca, and we'd be happy to get that information for them. Or they can call us at 709-737-2333, and we'd be able to find that information for them.
Absolutely.
There was another question, Fraser, that came in. This question is, who can certify one's disability, and is there a monetary charge for this certification? So who can certify one's disability, and is there a charge for this certification?
Back in the previous slides that were there, it listed pretty well everybody from a psychologist to your doctor, your nurse, nurse practitioner, I think she has to be, or he has to be. Any of those individual physiotherapists, audiologists, depending on the disability, and if you're seeing a specialist, I can assure you that specialist is qualified to sign off on what you've written about how this is affecting your life. In some cases, the doctor might charge you, but in other cases, I think we're also working on having that fee paid for by MCP. Whether that's already in place, I'm not sure. But again, the importance of providing as much information on how that disability affects your life, and I mean writing a story so that there are no questions that, and even if the doctor is doing his prognosis of, and a lot of times they may not very well give a very detailed, but if he would add his prognosis about your disability, that is a bonus. And once he or she signs off on it, and if it's totally clear that this, in essence, is a severe disability, that it will affect this person going forward in his or her life, once the adjudicator sees it at CRA, the Canada Revenue Agencies, they will sign off on it if there are no questions that you leave yourself open to. So really important how that's done and how well it's put together. And that's where I will always say, go back to all these places that offer the help, send them a copy of what you're sending them in, and let them guide you from there to say, this is very well put together, or we would suggest that you would add this. And if you go to, I guess I've used it, Chat GDP or whatever. If you're not good at writing something, put in all the information and let it enhance it. So.
Yes. And Fraser, just a couple more questions came in. Is there an age limit when you can start or finish contributing to the Registered Disability Savings Plan? So is there an age limit you can start or finish when you contribute to the registered?
It actually finishes at age 59 because you have to take it out at age 60. But to get the benefits from both the provincial and federal government, you have to have this put in place before you turn, in the year that you turn 49, on December 31st, you have to have this in place. If you don't have it in place, you're going to miss out on, particularly if it's a disability that you've had for 10 years. Because remember, they will go back 10 years. So if you open it up at 49, they'll go back to age 39 and put in $1,000 per year for those 10 years. So there's $10,000 sitting there for you. Also, there's a one-time contribution that you can make up to, I think it's around $3,500. And remember that when you put in $3,500 on the very last day that you are eligible, the federal government will put in 3 times that amount based on your income. So again, you could be sitting there with about $25,000 or $26,000 on the very last day. So really, really important that if you want to take advantage of the program, by all means do so.
Thank you, Fraser, for that. And one last question is hearing impaired classified as a disability?
Just try that one more time.
Is hearing impaired classed as a disability?
Hearing does, yes.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Talk to your audiologist; they'll figure it out. And
thank you.
That's it. So I'm pretty well had to go myself here.
Well, thank you, Fraser, and I appreciate you coming and joining us today. It's a very, very informative session. And if anyone has any more questions, they can also email us at info@seniorsnl.ca, 1-800-563-5593. And of course, our website is www.seniorsnl.ca. Thank you.